I melted not only the inserts, but also my ultra long peaks. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. What's going on, guys? In today's video, I'm going to go through my top 10 winter hiking mistakes. If you're new to the channel, my name is Jeremiah Stringer, and here we talk about all things hiking and backpacking. So if you're into that kind of thing, consider subscribing. So here's the situation. Before a couple weeks ago, I had never been winter hiking before in my life. So I scheduled an overnighter, and long story short, the weather was terrible. If you want to check out the video, you can check it out right up here. We spent one night out there, and I felt like I was kind of over-preparing, bringing all this stuff, but man, am I glad that I brought everything I did. But I still made some mistakes along the way because experience is the best teacher. Before I tell you the first one, I want you to just know I have a bonus one at the end, because what top 10 video would be complete without 11 items? The first 4, all weirdly enough, have to do with either my shoes or feet. Mistake number 1. Annoying, right? I know. I took some of those grocery bags that you just get at like Walmart, and I took them basically so I could waterproof my socks if I needed to do any water crossings, because I figured it's wintertime, I don't want wet feet. That's not what ended up happening. See, what I should have used those grocery bags for is to prevent mistake number 1. Due to soaking wet feet on day 1, and then the temperatures dropping down in the teens overnight, my shoes froze and I left them in the vestibule of the tent. Woke up the next morning, they're like bricks. What I should have done was took that grocery bag, put my shoes inside of it. Yeah, I learned this after I came back. Put my shoes inside of it and put that in the toe box of my sleeping bag. And that would have kept them at least warm enough where they wouldn't freeze. And then the next morning, I would have been putting on wet shoes, but not bricks for shoes. Mistake number 2 also has to do with those shoes. I didn't really loosen the laces quite enough the night before. So I woke up the next morning and everything's like stiff, frozen in place. No joke, like would not budge. So I somehow got my foot inside there and started walking around and let it unfreeze while I walked. I should have loosened those puppies up really well so my foot would have easily fit inside, even if they were frozen. That leads me to mistake number 3. What I should have done was kept walking around and around camp in those shoes until they were like completely thawed out, my feet were warm, and I was no longer walking around with ice bricks. Well, I didn't do that. I put them on just long enough to go get my food bag down. In the meantime, my buddy that was with me, he made a fire, and I thawed the shoes out by the fire. So we sat around the fire, got warm, that was amazing. But then as I'm walking around, packing everything up, getting a layer of ice off my tent, doing all that stuff, trying to break camp, my shoes refroze. But I noticed later on that just in the half mile it took to get to the lookout we were going to, my shoes completely thawed out, my feet were warm, even though they were soppy and wet. That's what I should have done. I should have corrected that mistake by just putting the shoes on and kept walking until my feet were nice and toasty. So I won't be making that mistake again. Speaking of fire, yeah, look at that. Can you see it? Do you see it? This, my friends, this is what it looks like whenever you try to thaw out the insoles in your shoe. See, I had just bought these. So mistake number 4 was getting my insoles, and wait for it. Look at this. Look at this. I don't know if you can tell, but that's not what my shoe is supposed to look like. I melted not only the inserts, but also my ultra long peaks. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Mistake number 4, putting those shoes and putting your insoles too close to the fire. In fact, I'll one up it just a little bit more. I had wool socks on and kept my feet, up nice and close to the fire, trying to warm them up. Oh, I'm telling you, they were freezing. Anyway, long story short, it actually started, I guess, melting my sock, and one of my toes started peeking out through the bottom of the wool sock. And you know how your feet are super cold? They're so cold that they're getting numb, and you're trying to warm them up, right? And then you get them too warm, and you can't feel it until it's until it's just too much, and then it burns you a little bit, and then you're like, ah! Yeah, that's what happened to me, and I guess that's what melted my sock. All right, I'll stop rambling. Let's get on to the next one. Number 5. This one I'm thinking is going to change because I just don't have enough experience with this. I bought this emergency sleeping bag, right? And I thought, I have a 30-degree sleeping bag, like just a normal synthetic one. I thought I'll pair that with a sleeping bag liner and my 30-degree sleeping bag. And you know what? That will be warm enough to keep me warm in like the teens. Paired with, of course, like my sleeping pad, a NeoAir X-Lite. And it kept me warm, yeah, but the mistake was the sleeping bag, the emergency sleeping bag, I didn't have next to my skin. And one of my subscribers, they said, that's supposed to be close to your skin because you'll create condensation in that and you'll wake up and it'll be wet. And sure enough, I woke up and I had sleeping bag liner, like I was inside the liner. Then I had the emergency sleeping bag and then my regular sleeping bag. And so I got up and there was condensation, I guess. I don't know if it's from my breath or just moisture leaving my body, but it was on the inside of that emergency sleeping bag. And it was getting my sleeping bag fleece liner wet. I think to fix that mistake, what I'm going to do is actually use 2 sleeping bags. Now, that might be stupid. I don't know. I just don't have enough experience to know. So I'm not trying to give you advice here. I'm just telling you my experience. So I think I'm going to pair that, just a down sleeping bag with the 30-degree sleeping bag that I took last time and just do, you know, like a cocoon. And I think that'll be warm enough to keep me warm on my next winter backpacking trip where it's supposed to get down to about 25 to 30-ish degrees as a low overnight. If you're curious about the weight, I just weighed them in my down sleeping bag. It weighed right over a pound. It was like 1 pound and 3 ounces. And then I weighed the sleeping bag liner and the emergency sleeping bag, and those weigh just under 1 pound. So I'm carrying an extra 4 ounces of weight, but it's taking up less room in my backpack. So I'm thinking that may be a win. I don't know. I may just be wasting my time here. By the way, if you know why my emergency sleeping bag was getting wet on the inside, I would love some like justified reasoning behind that because I just don't know. So please comment below if you have an idea on why that may have been the case. All right, number 6, get ready for it. What trip would be complete without a turn in the wrong direction? So I was FaceTiming my wife, you know, oh babe, I miss you so much. And then took a wrong turn because we paused and stopped to take a little break right at a fork. Wasn't paying a bit of attention, and I took the left when I should have took the right. And it probably added like an extra mile. But a mile in freezing rain, just getting sopped wet all day, that mile might as well have been forever. I'm telling you. I used a tiny BRS backpacking stove, and this is a 230 gram fuel canister. Mistake number 7 is my fuel, I'm pretty sure where it's pressurized, the less fuel in there, the less pressure you get, right? I'm pretty sure where it's so cold, this had been sitting on the freezing ground overnight, and I tried to use it the next morning and it just wasn't having it. It was 18 degrees and the stove would barely light. So I'm thinking to fix that mistake, all I have to do is take this and I'll basically either keep it against my body all night, like in the toe box of my sleeping bag, or just in the morning after I get up and I'm just kind of laying there. You know, so it at least warms up, kind of like between my clothes and the sleeping bag maybe. All right, mistake number 8, total rookie move. It was so stupid, but you know what? I tie it to winter hiking because here's what happened. I didn't drink enough water. I drank, you know, water and coffee and stuff on the way to the trail the morning of, but during the entire time I was on the trail the first day, and we didn't hike very far, maybe 5 miles, I drank 1 liter of water. From the time I got on the trail to the time I went to bed, or at least was making camp around dark. I drank 1 liter, almost cramped up actually. And I'm like obsessed with drinking water on the daily. Like I'll drink 3 or 4 liters a day just in normal life. So stupid. But I think what happened was it's just cold out. And so since you're not hot, you're not sweating, you're not thinking about drinking water. And I tell you what, I won't be making that mistake again, because climbing those hills and almost getting a Charlie horse, that sucked. Mistake number 9. I'll tell you what I did right. I layered up. But what I did wrong for mistake number 9 is there's like this little hanging net kind of in my North Face Tri-Arch 3. And I'm laying there and I'm like, well, the base of my floor is wet. I don't want to get my clothes wet because I'm going to put them on as I get cold during the night. See, the last thing I want to do is make the mistake of putting everything on, being too hot and start sweating, and then wake up like freezing cold, right? So I'm like, oh, yeah, I can just put that up there in that net, right? Then at night I get cold and I wake up and I just reach up. I'm smart. Wake up, reach up there, put on my jacket, put on my extra layers, whatever it may be. In this case, it was a puffy and extra pair of pants to put on. I know you couldn't see me I don't know why I done that. I know you couldn't see me put the pants on. So it didn't work out. It was probably 2 a.m. and 15 degrees, inside the tent. And I'm nice and cozy warm in the sleeping bag, but I wake up and I'm just cold, right? I'm no longer nice and cozy warm. So I pull my sleeping bag down so that I can reach up, grab those pants and put them on and put my puffy on. Okay, well, no. All my warm, all the warmth that was coming off my body and was trapped inside the sleeping bag, all just kind of floated off into nothing inside the tent. And then I just started shivering. Like I had to pop 4 hand warmers and put them on different spots on my body and use that to help warm up, just shivered. And then I finally got warmed up and I was warm until I crawled out of the sleeping bag in the morning. Remember, after this last tip, I actually have one more bonus for you. Mistake number 10 is something that had never happened before because I had never been out in the freezing temps while hiking. I'm no expert here. I'm just learning. Just getting experience. It's my teacher. I hung my bag, my bear bag that is, PCT style. Yep. And as you can see here, my bag was straight up hanging off a rope with the rope frozen to the tree. And it's just dangling there. The rope frozen to the tree. It had rained the entire day previously, and the rope froze against that tree branch, and I literally could not get down the bear bag. So I had to tie a knot around a bigger limb and use that to anchor and push down as hard as I could to break the ice loose of this tree branch that's hanging, 25, 30 feet off the ground. Got the bear bag down. Listen to this. Tried to pull the rope down. That freaking thing refroze to the tree. I guess the friction, it was kind of refroze and then the friction heated it up, but as it got closer and closer to the loop falling off over the branch so I could just wind the rope up, no, it refroze to the tree. I couldn't get it off. And at this point, I was just over it. Had to cut the rope. Isn't that ridiculous? Could not get it off the tree. All right, mistake number 11. If you watch all the way to the end of my trip video on the second day, you'll see me holding these up. These are my pants that are straight up frozen. I let my pants and my gaiters and my socks from the previous day lie on the floor of the tent at the foot of my air mattress, my mattress pad. And those things freaking straight up froze. Wouldn't fit in my backpack. I had to strap them on the outside and they stayed frozen in place. Like there were some crumpled up legs in there. Frozen in place the entire second day. The whole day. Got to the car, they were still frozen solid. What I should have done was put those in one of those little grocery sacks and put that in the toe box of my tent too. But you know what? I'm no expert here. I'm just a man who loves backpacking and loves just being a lifelong learner. So mistakes made, mistakes fixed. Actually, I got a video coming out soon of I did some stuff right, okay? It's not all negative here. Guys, if you enjoyed, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe for more. Hey, Click the notification bell for the latest notifications. We'll see you guys in the next video. The adventure continues.